on today's Success or Excuses podcast, we have another very special guest who's come all the way down from Aberdeen. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, James. So I'm Kieran Taylor of Welsh Taylor Wealth. We're a financial advice business based in Aberdeen. We do work nationally as well. Really what we started the business for was to bring something to the table for clients where we could deliver real tangible value with financial advice, not purely based to products. So 5 years down the line, we're still growing and we're still developing. So yeah, been a fantastic journey thus far, and thank you very much for having me here today.
I am really looking forward to going down the route of the trials and tribulations of your business, because we've known each other for quite a few years. 6 years
it would be, yeah, it'd be 6 years.
About 6 years. And can you remember, how did we first meet? Can you remember?
Yeah, so I was at one of your training workshops. It must have been in 2019. I think it was the summer of 2019. And you very kindly offered me some of your time after that, where myself and my business partner were just about to start our own business. We were operating as financial advisors in another advisory firm, and I remember it was pinging it down with rain. It was in Glasgow, so of course that would be the case. But we spent some time at a coffee shop, and I remember one of the things I wanted to get from you in the first instance was, we're starting out, James, what would you focus on right away? And you'd said to me, Kieran, know your target market. Know who you want to deal with and work towards that. And we've done that. So Martin and myself, we previously worked in the oil and gas industry. So it's an industry that we've got massive affinity with. Most of our clients come from there, and we know that bit really well. So we took that under your guidance to think, okay, well, where can you niche down and really add value to people? So we focused in that sector, and it seems to have worked really well so far.
And not a bad place to focus that sector, because Aberdeen's oil and gas capital of Europe.
It is, yes, it is, as the president kindly reminded us a few weeks ago when he was opening his new golf course.
That's right, so it was. So I mean, oil and gas has had, even then, it's been quite a bit of turbulence, although I suppose 1920 started to get a bit better, and then obviously COVID kicked in. So I want to go back to the early days when you first started your business. So go and talk us through that. So you've both decided, which is a huge risk, is putting in probably a well-paid job.
So Martin and I had a really interesting experience where we were kindly pushed out the industry, I would say, in the terms that we were made redundant, basically. It was in 2016 when the oil price, was really bad. I think at one point in time it was down at like $18 a barrel or something like that.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in Aberdeen then, I know.
So in a way, though, it was quite a relief in a strange way, because I could feel murmurings to think, Kieran, do you want to get caught up in this cycle? Because if Iran or Russia decides to pump the world of cheap oil and gas, you can't control that, but it could bring the price of the commodity down. Now, that could affect your employment prospects. And my dad, who absolutely was a fantastic mentor to me, had often reminded me that, Kieran, I think the best days of the oil industry have perhaps gone. So maybe you should think about something else. But truth being told, I didn't know what that something else was. So it's made redundant, and it was kind of like, all right, clean slate, let's start again. But what was that something else? So I spoke to a recruitment, I wouldn't even say a friend, probably an associate of mine, and I said, listen, Craig, I'm looking for something else in finance. I think there's a long-term game in that, whether you're talking about it from a corporate level or on a personal level. And he had said, well, we've actually got this open night, Kieran, for a training academy where basically you train to be a financial advisor, wealth manager, whatever you want to call it, and you can enter that industry. Now, before that night, I knew nothing about the industry. Didn't know anything about it. My parents didn't have a financial advisor. It wasn't something I had any affinity with. But after that evening, I sat down and realised all this is about is developing a relationship with someone and genuinely adding value to their lives.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a bit of me. I like that. That sounds good. So that's where we got going. But where Martin and I both got trained, it was a sense of you came out with the qualification, but you were self-employed. You didn't really have a business, if that makes sense. It was kind of just you on your own.
You're working for yourself, basically. You
turned up the office, you had a suit and tie on with a laptop, and it was like, right, now what? Now what? No clients, no clue, but you've just got to try and make it work. And over that period of time, we got the opportunity to join a more established practice at the time, and we looked at ourselves and thought...
Is it a licence model?
Kind
Is
of.
that what we were talking about, the big company?
Yes,
Aye,
that's
right, okay.
So not to get too technical,
Yeah,
but in the regulatory world, you can be one of two things. You can be an appointed representative, which is that you work for a network, basically, and you give restricted advice. Or you can be what's known as directly authorised or independent, and it's kind of in the name. You can use any asset that you want to that's in
And you're independent now?
Now, that's right. We're in.
But in the early days,
yes,
not so much.
We were appointed. And truth being told, if you just got the licence and you said to the Financial Conduct Authority, I want to be directly authorised, it would be, no, no, we're not comfortable with that. You kind of need to give them some credibility for them to think, right, okay, you can do this on your own.
Yes. So I mean, I've got a financial advisor with the company that you've left. And I was the same. Like, my experiences, right, with financial advisors up until 5-6 years ago was horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of money I lost, by the way. I remember I was in the Middle East, so, Dubai, unregulated.
Because it was real cowboy country when you were there, wasn't it? Yeah.
I lost hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds. I invested in a student accommodation in Ecuador or Colombia or something Argentina.
Right.
Student accommodation in Argentina, and the company went bust.
I like to have seen that investment perspective. That would have been,
I invested in farming land in some other country when you owned the land, and if it didn't get farmed after, we'll say 15 years, the land was transferred to you. So I put like 30 grand in that. I thought, well, I'll always have a bit of land in Colombia. Make my own marching powder. But I know, and I was getting advised of these things, by the way.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know, Kieran, was the amount of money that they made off the advice. So what actually I found was they weren't really advising me in my best interests.
No.
They were advising me in their best interests. What they could make. So whatever they get the biggest payout of, that was what they pushed into you. So up until I actually went with the advisor I'm with now, it was horrendous. And it wasn't a good name for financial advisors. What was your experience in the early days of financial advice? Because I know you do something completely different and I want to talk about that later. But what was the early days like?
Oh my God, my father-in-law had a hell of a one-liner. So I told him that this is what we was going to be doing. And he said, well, you've chosen a profession, you're going to be the second most hated person in Britain, the first being traffic wardens. And I thought, right, okay, cheers, Brian. But I understand why he said that, because you're right. I had heard from other experience that you either spoke to someone who loved their financial advisor, I mean, really appreciate what they did, or they loathed the profession. There was kind of nothing in between. So it's something I wanted to take stock of from day one, to think, right, Kieran, as long as you do the right things, as long as you can deliver tangible value to people, you'll sleep at night and you know you've done the right thing. Because age came up as well. I mean, I'm 32. And when I started, I must have been 24.
That's young, isn't it, for a financial advisor?
Something like that.
God.
So people had said
so
that.
So you're trying to think, how am I going to get credibility here?
Exactly. And that was something that came into my head. But again, I always thought, but Kieran, as long as you can demonstrate that you do know more than that person, you care about that person, and you actually want to put something in place that's going to work for them over the long term, they'll get over the age thing pretty quickly. But it's that limiting belief, isn't it? If you believe you're too young, then you are. If you believe you can't add value, then you don't.
Then you don't. That's exactly it, because you talk yourself out it before you even get there.
Exactly.
I love it. So the early days, I want to go back to the early days, right? So you started up business, you had a few challenges, age, credibility. What made you different? Because you obviously knew, as your father-in-law said, traffic wardens or financial advisors, they're the two most hated people in the country. Well, probably then, maybe no now. Politicians probably now.
I was going to say,
what was it because you must have had an idea, you must have in your head, you did mention that, I'd sleep at night and give them my best advice, but you must have had a picture of what's going to make you different. Because you were very clear from the start, this is who we want to be. What was that?
So from our side of things, I think it was because Martin, my business partner, and I both came from the oil and gas industry,
Right.
and we were young guys in that industry. I joined the industry when I was 19. Might have joined a wee lad. You became a man very quickly.
Yes, very quickly.
Because you were around people that were older, and they would talk to you, and they would tell you about financial worries that they had in their life. There were people that were in their mid-50s that would tell me as a young guy, tell you what, Kieran, you need to start thinking about your pension young. I should have done that 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
Now, that stayed with me forever. There was people going through divorce, difficult times, moving internationally, all that kind of thing. And I almost took that, without really knowing it, as market research.
Yep,
To
sure,
think,
sure.
right, so Kieran, if you niche on a business where you understand the challenges that these people have,
Yeah.
and you bring that to advice, you can genuinely add value. But most people who were involved in the industry at the time, they kind of worked for RBS and that was it.
We spent our money.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Yeah.
We made loads of money, but we spent
Yeah.
loads of money.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could go hit back in hindsight as well, oh my dearie me.
Yeah.
I would have been a proper, or at least seeked a proper financial advisor 20 years ago.
There was always the kind of Aberdeen doomsday scenario, particularly back in 2016 when it was
Doomsday.
Yeah.
It was doomsday.
Yeah, I mean it was. Yeah, I mean it was. Really
It was
bad.
horrendous.
Yeah,
I was living in Aberdeen 2016.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
And you know what it was like? Husband and wife, both contractors, 2 ranges on finance, mortgaged up to the eyeballs,
Yep.
both get made redundant the same day.
Yep.
And it's, oh shit, what do you do now? And it probably was that as well. I think the city got to learn from that experience to
Yes.
think, right, you can't really let that happen again. Let's try and do some more forward planning.
Yeah.
That's the hope anyway.
And that's the birth of your company coming in, and so what would you say in that journey? What's been your biggest challenge?
I think always trying to move yourself forward and your business forward, because when we started out, Martha and I were sole traders. We weren't working together, didn't know each other from Adam. We were then working in a more established business at that time. Then we wanted to leave, and the chap who was running the business at the time did not want that to happen, to the point that he had contacted people on the board to say, don't let these guys go on their own. And you realise in the business world, if you want something, you have to fight for it sometimes.
Yeah.
You want to be jovial and you want to get on with people, but sometimes to make a dream a reality, you've got to fight for it.
Absolutely, tooth and nail.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's the same for when we wanted to make our move again, to leave the network, to become independent, be directly authorised. You have to fight for that. You have to go through the process. You have to do everything with the Financial Conduct Authority, fill out the 350-page application, pass the capital adequacy test, be fit and proper, try and move your clients with you. There's a hell of a lot of moving parts, but you learn that you have to keep fighting through it. It was something I was thinking about this a couple of weeks ago. That, remember religious education in schools?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you'd sit down and the teacher would tell you a little bit about different religions at that point in time. And I remember when Buddhism came up in a conversation. And I remember they told about the first noble truth of Buddhism, that life is suffering. Now, when I was 16, I thought, life is suffering? Oh, Jesus, what's that about? And I was too young to really understand that.
Yeah.
And it was only years and years and years later I sat down and realised, well, if you think about it, life is suffering. We live knowing every day that one day we will die.
Yeah,
your loved
absolutely.
ones will die.
Yeah.
You will feel hurt, you'll feel anguish, you'll feel pain. That will happen in your time on planet Earth. But
Never mind running a business.
Never mind, but that's it, yeah. And then bring it back to running a business.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
add that tenfold on top of that.
Yeah.
But then once you realise the other parts in noble truths is that, well, actually suffering's universal, which means you're not alone.
Yeah.
There's other people that have experienced this.
Yeah.
They could be experiencing it right now or at some point in history. And how many of them managed to get through it? How many of them managed
Is
to
that
get
when
through
you're
the other side?
driving then? You've always said, I love that. Keep going, challenge.
Just keep moving forward with it, because no matter the situation that you've been in, someone has been in there before. You have privilege over someone has privilege over you.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you keep working head towards it, you will get there. And my wife kindly reminded me a few weeks ago, where there's a lot going on in the business just now, getting all the clients moved over, and it's fantastic. It's a great challenge to have.
Yeah.
And I said, it'll be great once all this settles down, all calms down. He said, well, Kieran, it won't, because then it'll be something else, and then it'll be something else after that. There's never a time where it's just going to be okay.
Absolutely. It never happens.
No, there's always another mountain to climb, I think.
And it's because, and I talk about this a lot with business owners that come on the podcast. What happens is, your vision in the next 12 months, when you get to that point, it changes for the next 12 months, and it gets a bit bigger and a bit bigger and a bit. But it's probably down to one or two things. You absolutely love what you do, right? You absolutely love it. You love helping people. You know, I know in your world, it's definitely no quick wins.
No, that's true.
It's
that's
long-term wins. Yeah. And I think that's sometimes hard for people to get their head around. You know, when I put money away into my pension through our financial advisors, it's gone. Like I'm not interested in, you know, it's got, well, I'm interested in what happens because I get a report every quarter or whatever. Of course I want to see it go up. I don't like it going down.
Nobody does.
But it's one of those things that it never. So first of all, it's a long-term thing for you. So you're not getting quick gains, right? So it's long-term. And that means you've got to build up quite a decent client base to have, I suppose, a healthy, successful life.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely true. So the great thing about this business is that, and something that we all crave in the business world, it has recurring revenue, but you have to get it in the first place.
Absolutely.
And that was the amazing thing, you know, when we started.
You've got to build it up.
You have to,
You've got to build the pot.
And particularly for where we were in 2016, I mean, we came in with no clients. So you were starting from the ground up with nothing.
Yeah.
So eventually you think, right, okay, well, onboarding the right people, and how do you do that? And I think it's come up on one of your other brilliant podcasts that I've been listening to. I think I can't remember who you spoke to specifically, but you were speaking about bringing on the right people and the right clients.
Yes.
You learn that over time. I think in the early stages, yeah.
Because early stages, you are almost in desperation mode. So you'll take anybody and anything. Yeah. I mean, literally, even though you know, probably shouldn't really, this should really know a client. But you do it because you're like, no, I need to get up and run. I need to bring in cash flow. I need to get the business successful. It's bonkers, isn't it?
I think you also have to learn though, don't you, James? Like,
absolutely.
Do you know what a bad client is from day one? Probably not. It's only maybe after you kiss a few frogs and you think, oh, okay, I'm going to learn from this experience. Maybe you have to feel the pain a little bit first to think, right, I'm not going to let that happen again. Because when you're a novice, which to be fair we were at that point in time, how do you know what's good and not so good? You maybe have to go through that experience.
So you're 5 years in.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the business is 5 years. And I'm assuming throughout those 5 years you've had lots of peaks and troughs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then it was a couple of years ago you get married, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've got somebody else that you're having to say look after, but you know, you've got to think about more than you probably did previously.
Oh yeah.
And that brings its own challenges as well in business, because you're like, well no, I need to make this work.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I know, and this needs to work.
Yeah, it's a new kind of pressure it falls on yourself, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And you're right, because in the early stages, I'm quite thankful that I started my business journey early. When I've got an amazingly supportive wife, and she was even before she was my wife. She understood. Our dad's a self-employed decorator, so she understood the hard work and everything, but to make the good things happen in life. But now, obviously, and
if you do it right,
exactly, then that's it. You've got more time. And it came up the other day, my wee daughter, she just turned 1 a few weeks ago, actually. But what I want to be is a present dad as well.
Yes.
So we're doing the hard miles now and building up and building a more established business so that in future I can go to the kids' sports days. Yeah, you know, absolutely. We can take more time off.
That's what it's all about. That's what life's all about. Yeah. It's building, and I think a lot of people don't, unless you run a business. Challenges are there every day. Yeah. Right? Some days are great. Some weeks are great. Some days are bad. Some weeks are bad. When I say bad, I don't particularly, the challenge, very challenging. And I like the thing that you talk about. We don't have a reoccurring model. Ours is, reoccurring clients, so they keep coming back, retention. Yes. Which is obviously really good. But that reoccurring model must, eventually you're kind of go, right, okay, I know that my mortgage is paid. I know that everything that that my recurring revenue. But then your goals and dreams get bigger.
Oh, absolutely.
And they keep getting bigger, and they keep getting bigger. Yeah. And so what is it that keeps driving you? What is it that drives you? Gets you up every morning, because we all have shit days, and what is it that drives you?
I think we touched on it a few minutes before, that there's always another mountain to climb. Yep. And I think what I want to feel is that at the end of my life, whenever that will be, that I reach my full potential. Where you can sit back and you think, you know what? No, I couldn't have done any more than that. Yeah. I think I'm a firm believer that you are only here once.
Yes.
There is no dress rehearsal.
No, there's not.
So it's one of those, if you can feel, right, I've taken this to the nth degree. I've done the best I could. I put in as much effort as I could. I scaled this business as much as I possibly could, but not to the detriment of my family life. Yes. Not to the detriment of my clients. Can I sit back and say, you did it, but you did it the right way?
Or even your own health.
And even your own health, exactly that. Yeah, you see, unfortunately, people do let that go.
Especially when business owners, because of the pressure that we're under, and if you don't learn to manage it, it's a slippery slope, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's a really slippery, and I always talk about, like, I think the lessons, and as you said, you're really long, and you've learned those lessons young. So you were obviously quite mature when you were younger to say, I can do this. And I think, like, you build a mindset, right? I call it success blueprint, right? Yeah. So you take all the, and you did talk about this, you take all the challenges and the lessons, and you start to develop this blueprint for success, right? So you learn, you understand what works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
Do more of that, do less of that, and you almost become. And as you get bigger, then you bring on more people. We'll talk about that is the hiring, the hiring of people and bringing other people into your business, which is a tough gig.
Oh yes,
it's a tough gig, because then you've got people problems, because it's no you and your business partner any longer. It's you, your business partner, and others.
Exactly.
So you're having to manage and lead. And so, how many employees have you got? Is it still the 2 years? What's the size of your business?
Yeah, so we're up to 7 as a team now.
Wow.
And
well done, 5 years.
Yeah, and that happens quick as well.
I know it does, I know.
So when we started in 2020, we had ourselves, and there was 2 of the ladies that worked at the previous practice who really believed in what we were doing and said, you know what, guys, want to come with you. So Emma, who is actually now our operations manager today, she's been with us from day one.
Right.
And I think that's been really powerful, that she's seen the infancy of the business, she's seen it grow, she gets it, she understands it. And we've got a brilliant working relationship too. But you know something, for how well we work today, the first year we were terrible. We used to fight like cat and dog. It was just that clash of personalities where we wanted to achieve the same thing, but it took us a bit of time to learn how to work best with each other. Whereas Martin and I's been a match made in heaven. I don't think we've ever had an argument.
And that's unique. I mean, listen, I co-founded my business with my wife. See, the early years, they were tough. I mean, until we learned to understand each other. That's it, because a personal relationship and a business relationship are 2 completely different things. Like, they're completely different. And it was fine. We had to try and find that sweet spot, because we'd have an argument in the office, and that argument
home as well.
And it would never leave, and I would know, because Enos would stop talking to me, and I'm like,
the silent treatment. Oh no, the worst.
Oh shit, that's it now. That's it. I don't know what I've done. I don't know what I've said. I'd be sitting thinking, right, what did I say? Did I snap at her?
Tracing back the steps.
I'm trying to trace back, and I'd go, listen, honey. Listen, I'm sorry. See, for whatever I've said, I can't really pinpoint it, but I'm sorry. You know, when I'm getting wound up at work or something's going wrong, I'm no blaming you. I'm just venting, and you just happen to be there. So that early years, as you said with that, it was this clash of these 2. Because I'm not going to see Enos isn't very driven, she obviously is, but I'm very, you ain't stopping me. I'm all in. I'm all in, and Enos is more kind of steady, slow, more methodical, thinks things through more, and I'm just in. I'm in. And that was like that.
Yeah, I think that's probably why we like each other so much, because I'm very much the same. Martin he was an engineer, and he still thinks like an engineer. But at the same time, he would think about something for 5 years and then think, we probably should have done that 3 years ago. Whereas I'm like, this is a great idea, come on, let's do it. But when you balance that together, we actually manage to really work together with others' strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And we can
and that's the key.
And that's it, And I think that's it. I remember a brilliant piece of advice I got years ago is that if you can, hire your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
People spend loads of time, I think, trying to improve their weaknesses. They forget about harnessing all the strengths that they've got. But actually, if you're man enough to admit, but there's someone better at me than that, and that's okay. There's someone that could do a better job in that area. Does that give you more chance to scale your business? In my opinion, yes, it does.
100%.
Ego can get in the way, can't it? If you actually,
you need to if you want to be successful, ego needs to get in the window. But think about this also, right? So when you first start in business, you try to do everything yourself until you realise I'm not doing a good job, and then you bring on new staff, and I actually talked about this in a podcast. I think it was about a year ago. I was on a podcast called Taylor Talks Trades. Right, Taylor Talks Trades. And we were talking about that. We were talking about when you first start in business. And I'd say to him, I learned early on in my career, like when I was oil and gas, of course, my background, I went into management, mid-level management, then into senior management. I hired people based on my strengths and my weaknesses.
Yeah.
I would look for the gaps in my team.
Yeah.
And I would say, right, I really need somebody because I'm not really good at that. And they're looking at me to lead, but this isn't my forte. And I took that same mindset into business until I was in a position where, right, okay, I can afford to hire a marketing person. I can afford now to hire an operations person. And those first steps, right, it's quite tough.
Yeah, it
because
is.
all of a sudden you're like, well, now I'm responsible for somebody else's salary, and then you have to bring on your second. You're like, now I'm responsible. Then your third, and then your fourth, and your fifth. Now we're 17 now, and you're like,
where did that? Yeah. How did that happen? Yeah.
17. I mean, we look at our monthly outgoings, right, and it frightens the bloody life out of me.
Yeah, when you see it.
You know, it frightens it when you look at our advertising budget and our marketing budgets and our salaries and pensions and VAT, and you look at the outgoings, and it is like.
Do you not think in business too? It's almost like a religion where you need to have blind faith sometimes.
Absolutely.
That you almost just need to have the purpose and the vision behind what you're doing. When you look at those invoices, think, oh shit. But it's that vision, it's that belief that makes
you make it work.
But you make it work.
You always make it. By the way, that's the story in my business life.
Yeah.
I mean, you've listened to my book.
Yeah.
And that's a story. It's where there's a want to, right? I say this a lot. Where there's a want to, you'll find the how to.
Yeah.
If you really want something bad enough, and that goes back to the mindset.
It does, yeah.
If you really want something and you want it bad enough, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
You'll find a way, and it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but you will find a way. I mean, our business, I'll get a quick one on that note. Our business it's grown. It's grown and grown. And we brought in our very first ever sales director.
All right, okay.
We've had salespeople, but we've never had a sales director. So we brought in this really, for Aberdeen, ex-oil and gas, so really high profile, sales director. He's incredible. I won't mention his name. I've not got any permission, but he's incredible. Yeah. And he came in and he was able to say, what problem here, what problem there, what problem there, problem there. And literally within his first couple of weeks, he's like, right, here's the problems. Here are the challenges. Here's the problems. Here's our challenges. Here's a solution. This is how we're going to fix it. Yeah. And I just said, hey, whoa, you've got meaning ass. You've got 100% backing. You do whatever you need to do. If you need to let people go, you need to bring in new people. You deal with it. You deal with it. What a difference! And it's gone back to the bringing in the right people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We've never had, because me and us always thought, well, nobody knows the business like we know the business, right? That's false. Right? Nobody does know your business like you know it. But you're not an expert in sales. And I used to be a salesperson, but I'm not an expert. Yeah. I've never been a sales director. I've never been a sales manager. Never. So I'm basically trying to put across a set of skills that I really don't have experience in. Yeah. And then somebody comes into the business who really does have the experience, and it's just like, wow.
And I think that's it, isn't it? It's having the acknowledgement that you won't have all the answers in every single part of your business, particularly as it grows and it scales, because new growth also breeds new threats and opportunities as well. So having someone else in there that can have maybe a helicopter view sometimes.
Absolutely.
To think, this is a blind spot you can't see, James, but this is how you can fix it. And you're absolutely right. We try and have that. Hire people that can bring solutions to the table.
Absolutely.
Here's a problem you didn't know you have, Kieran, but by the way, here's how you can solve it. Brilliant. And if you give those people autonomy, they can make good things happen for your business.
Absolutely. Because they see things you don't.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You can see things. So like, we're looking into the future, and I'm going to ask you this question. Yeah. When I look into the kind of future, right, the next 3-5 years, I see me stepping back, right, and more of a kind of CEO role, and bringing somebody in is the managing director. So basically do what I do. Yeah. The kind of manage the day-to-day business, because I also believe that I would be foolish to think that there's no somebody else out there that could probably come in, because, and I'm going to ask you the same question, when it's your baby, right? When it's your baby, it's everything, you take everything personal.
Oh yeah.
I mean everything.
Yeah.
A comment on a poster, you take everything personal, right? Really, really personal, because you're like, well, that's my baby you've just slapped, you know?
Yeah.
And I know that as an employee, I say this very loosely, when you're an employer, when you're a senior person, you don't have the same connection to the business, so you can look at it different.
It's not the same skin in the game, is it? That's just
but you can look at it. So they won't take stuff so personal, and so they not that I get blinkered. Well, actually, I probably do sometimes, but you get so blinkered because you're trying to fix everything, and then all of a sudden you bring somebody in and they can see your business for a completely different viewpoint. So that's kind of what I see. And then same with Inas, my wife, she's our operations, so she's your chief operating officer. But we're looking to bring an operations manager as well.
Yeah.
So that she can step back, because she's incredible. It's like your business partner, the way that she thinks, the methodical step by step. It's just great, because I know I can go and she's at the back of me, the wee on my shoulder, asking all the right questions and making me kind of step back a wee bit. So that's what I see. What do you see? What's the future? Because you're still a young guy. Are you building something huge for the future? Are you building something to eventually sell on? What is it? What does it look like?
It's a great question, because there's actually a lot of M&A activity in the advisory space. And that wasn't really the case a few years ago. But I think what particularly big private equity firms have realised is just what we spoke about a few minutes ago. There's a lot of recurring revenue in these businesses, and that's what they want to buy. They want to buy EBITDA. But I'm 32. So if someone came along and bought my business tomorrow and gave me a pile of cash, so what would I do, James? One of my big things is travelling. But my daughter will be in school. I want her to have that normal experience, that normal life. What would I do? I mean, literally, I'd have to wait till the summer holidays. I'd be counting down the holidays quicker there to be like, right, can we go away now?
I can't sit in Mars.
No.
I'm the same.
No, and I think that, again, as I've said, I want to try and push this and push myself as far as this can possibly go. So I think you're absolutely right. We will need to have structures in place where we probably do have people managing things from an operations director level. There probably will need to be someone, myself massively included in this, running the advisory division. Because what we want, particularly with advisors, is there's people that can give financial advice, but not necessarily the Welsh and Taylor way. So we want to do something that's really succinct, that this is how we think we can deliver value to clients.
What's the Welsh and Taylor way? I like that. I really like. Is that one of your? Because I like that, the Welsh and Taylor way. I might have just come up with now, but no. That's guy's tagline.
But we've always had a real feel that to bring this back to what's called lifestyle financial planning. So if you hark back to the 90s. Remember how difficult it was to take out an investment product? Remember pre-internet? You had to phone up the company, the guy would come round the house, he'd take the regular premium from you, and that was it.
That's it, job done.
Now, in my opinion, there's a lot of advisory firms that have never really changed from that. They'll sell you the product, that's fine, and there'll be an advice fee attached to it, and you'll sit down once a year, and they'll tell you how that product has done. Did it go up, down, or sideways? But is that actually matching what you want out of your finances? How does that link to the client that wants to retire at 62 and give his daughter 30 grand for a wedding and have a holiday home in Spain? It's hard to quantify that if you just look at things from a product base. We want to do a lifestyle financial plan where it's really, right, let's start with the end in mind. What do you want out of this?
Basically the kind of question I asked you, what does that look like when you're 65? I mean, I can never picture myself not working, but what does that look like?
And I'll be honest with you, James, that's the hardest bit of our job, because I think a lot of people don't know themselves. You're forcing them to ask themselves difficult questions at times of, I don't really know. Well, you kind of need to have an idea, because we need to know what good looks like. If not, we'll stumble into the dark towards potentially an end of retirement, and did you really get satisfaction out of that? And how did that link to your finances? So the Welsh and Taylor Way is really all about, we're starting with the end in mind and building a plan that's unique to that individual person. Because you find that doing this job, human beings are so fascinating because they're so wildly different. So there's one of our clients, for example, who's an oil exec, transfer massive final salary pension. I mean, significantly done fantastic things with his finances. But James, he likes pottering about the garden and looking after his grandkids. That's it.
That's his thing.
He was chuffed. He said, I actually spent some money the other week there. So I bought a new pair of Levi jeans. It's like 90 quid. And this guy's a multi-millionaire. But all the way down to clients that are, Kieran, I've got a taste of business class travel. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to be spending my retirement. I want to see the world. So it's building something
that's my kind of guy.
That's what I thought I was going to say. I can get on board with that as well. But it's amazing. But that's why you need to take a bespoke approach. And I think the days of what I'd call off-the-shelf financial advice, it's dead, because I think people are more attuned to it now to think, but is this actually going to work for me? And that's the bit we're trying to change.
I absolutely love that. And from my own personal experience, I can honestly, I don't know if I could ever retire.
Yeah.
Right.
I won't
don't
lie, James.
understand it.
I can't see you.
I can't either.
No.
But I want to have the option. Do you know what I mean? I want to have the option that should I decide to either A, retire and go travel in business class and live all around the world, and I mean, me and Ian could make a goddamn good go at it.
Yeah.
Or B, I might sell up.
Yep.
You know, and then go start another new business. But I want to have the choice. And that's why I throw so much money into my pension pot and my investment, is because I want to have the choice. And the more money I can put in now, because if I'm thinking, like 55 is just round the corner really for me now. So now I'm thinking 65 and 70. We'll go 65. And I know I'm going to have a pretty nice pot by then.
Yeah.
Like a pretty nice retirement pot. But I just can't see me ever doing it. Honestly, I can't. I just can't see me doing something.
So it's funny you say that. The one trend I have seen of clients post-COVID, don't know why, is pre-2020, there was a lot of clients that had the firm date in mind, and it was always 65. Generally, that's when people want to retire. Now, I've had far more people articulating exactly what you've just said, James, what they've said. I want to be financially independent by 60. So if I want to jack it, I can and I will. But equally, could I see myself working on or doing some consulting or starting up another business or doing something? Yes. So you're right. I think that's what people want to feel, is that financial security, that if they just decide, forget this, I'm packing it in, they can do it.
Yes.
But they want the flexibility and they want the options.
Absolutely. My brother-in-law, he's just been promoted. He's oil and gas.
Yeah.
He worked Baker Hughes, so I got his job and I worked with Baker Hughes. He's now the global president of Artificial Lift and something else. So he just got promoted to the global president. I think it's been announced internally, but I don't think it's been announced externally yet. So
exclusive.
I'm breaking the news.
Exclusive.
So Ross is and his retirement. So he was talking to me. He was down here back in the UK a month ago maybe, and he wants to retire at 55.
Right.
Now, he probably could. The money he's on now, stick a few wages, a couple of years' wages in the bank, he could probably retire at that level. And I says to him, and do what?
Yeah.
Like, retire and do what? He says, I'm going to buy one of those big, camper things. He says, I'm just going to tour America.
Right.
I'm just going to tour America for the rest of my life. And I thought, I couldn't think of anything worse. I love the idea of, the big Winnebago, I think they're called, or something.
Yeah.
For maybe a few weeks or maybe a month. But I thought, man, have you really thought about this? So
it's interesting you say that, because I've seen this from a lot of my clients as well, that decided, again, 60, nah, Kieran, I'm jacking it. Honestly, 80% of them, I would say, they're back doing something.
Yeah.
And whether that's some of that's down to full-time employment, part-time contracting, volunteering, consulting or something like that, because it's the old classic. Kieran, there's only so much golf you can play, there's only so much holidays you can go on before you think, right, it's almost maybe too much of a good thing. Maybe. But I think as human beings, we need purpose, don't we?
Absolutely.
I think we like to be wanted, or certainly for me, it's something that resonates with me. I quite like being relied upon.
Yes.
For people to think, speak to Kieran, he'll sort it out. Whether it's home life, whether it's work life, whatever, it's that nice feeling of he can be trusted, he can be relied upon. And if you think about it, particularly busy people that have been in those jobs and have been relied upon, to then go to, we need to go to the shopping on Wednesday. Then what? We don't have anything on till Saturday. That must be tricky. No, mentally tricky to deal with that.
I actually believe that, the old adage, people retire and then, their life just spirals out of control.
You see that as well, yeah.
You see it a lot. Yeah. You see it a lot, and I just think to myself, why would anybody put themselves in that position? Like, I love golf. There's only so many rounds of golf you can play.
Yeah.
I love travel. There's something like planes you want to jump on.
Yeah.
I need to have a purpose. I mean, I've talked about this with Inas as well, the retirement plan. Do you know what I'd end up doing? I'd end up either starting another business. I won't get into it so nobody can steal my idea. But starting another, we've already got the early date plans in place, or just speaking gigs. Just get in the country, the world, just speaking. Telling the story.
Yeah.
Letting everybody know. I'm a wee guy from Glasgow that left school with no qualifications. Yeah. I was running $1 billion businesses. Yeah. I've came back and built a multi-pound business in the UK. with no experience, like nothing. Nothing, none at all. I've got an Amazon one bestseller. You can be and do anything you want in life.
Yeah.
You just have to believe that you can.
I think
that's it.
I think that's so important. There's a brilliant line from the film Bronx Tale. Let's talk about the worst thing in life is wasted talent. And I think if you are someone that has this knowledge and this experience and you're at that mature stage of life, share it with the younger generation.
Absolutely.
Spread your story. Tell people, give them that insight to feel that actually, well, why can't I do that?
Absolutely.
Because you'll remember that in life and you'll be the same, James, that you've taken inspiration from different people in different places.
Absolutely.
It wasn't necessarily a family member or a colleague. It could be a random interaction you've had with someone. But I think if you can do that, if you can use that to inspire in the future, that's a brilliant thing. That's more commendable, I think, than any.
Kieran, there's two key people, right, and other than my father, but there's two key people in my life, right, in my career, that stand out like a sore thumb in terms of how they've enabled me to be the person I'm today. The first guy is a guy called Alistair Sheikh. He's Aberdeen. Yeah. He's ex-Baker VP, and I got my very first, we'll call it mid-level management role. I was director of operations for Saudi for Artificial Lift, and he was my manager and my boss. He was a VP. And I remember, I had no clue what I was doing, by the way. I was an engineer, man. I was Sparky. I don't know. What I know about management and P&L and all that stuff. And I remember going into his office and and I'm telling him, this is going wrong and that's going wrong and this is going wrong and I've got a problem. And I remember him turning around and saying, why are you telling me this? Like, if you want my advice or you want to run something past me, come in but I want a solution.
Yeah.
I'm paying you a lot of money. Yeah. You come in here with solutions, and I'm like, wow. Yeah. And I'm like, walked out and I thought, do you know what? And that was a massive turning point. And see, he believed in me. Yeah. He believed in me. I remember he made me stand up. So every Monday morning, it was a Sunday. Every Sunday we had our big leadership team meeting. So you had all the product line directors and country directors all in one big office, and we'd talk about our numbers. And I remember we were actually running at a loss. Right. And he made me stand up and tell the whole team why the business was running at a loss. And I was just like, I'll never let this happen again. I'll never let this happen again. One guy, the next guy was my next role. No, not the next role, the role. He actually promoted me into a few roles in that business. Because I was just, we talked about it earlier, get shit done. Yeah, the drive, make it happen. I just get shit done. Yeah. You know, if somebody says I've got a problem, I'll go find a way to fix it. That's it. You know, and I've always been very, very good at it. And we talked about this earlier on as well. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. Right? I don't have a problem going to something and saying, I really don't know can you show me, can you help me, can you support me? I don't have a problem asking people to support and help, and that's really stood me in good stead. And then the second person is a guy called Khalid New. The Khalid New was the president of Middle East and Asia, and I reported direct to him in my talent role at that. So I moved from operations into talent development, HR, and I used to be thinking, why? Like, why? The most straight talking guy in the world in HR, man. I can only imagine. and that guy, he challenged everything. He challenged everything. Not necessarily me, but he challenged everything. Well, why with that? Why? But why? And his no-nonsense approach really rubbed off on me, because I thought, I can actually... Like, I can really say what I think here, right? This guy gives you the platform. No, he challenged you all the time, but he gave you the platform because he'd say, James, I want to hear your opinion. Oh, you sure you want to hear my opinion? and he really rubbed off on me, because again, he was able to see something in me that I couldn't see. Yeah. And it was that wee belief that he had in me that enabled me to really accelerate my career. And I think... we're going back to that whole kind of mindset and the people in your life and sharing his experiences. These are the things that people need to hear. Oh God, yeah. I mean, I know that you've set it really, really young in your business, and you know, hats off to you, totally commended. I'm really excited to see what the future holds. Yeah. I'm really excited. Us too. I mean, even in a short space of time, we've managed to achieve and outstretch everything we had in our first 5-year business plan, you know, down to the assets we've got under management, the turnover, the profit we've managed to achieve. So the metrics have been really important. I know that's something you're hot on as well, is that within your business, got to know your numbers. Got to know your numbers. But I think you've got to be honest with yourself as well. And if something's not working, why? Yeah.
Take ownership, take responsibility of things, because we're all guilty of the blame game sometimes.
Yes.
It's always someone else's fault.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, we've looked at it as it's your name above the door.
That's
So it doesn't-
exactly
so it
how I
doesn't-
look at it.
So
Exactly how I look at it. See, even when we have a bad sales performance, a bad month, I don't. It's not the same. I'm thinking, what have I done?
Yeah.
What have I said? What have I not been looking at? Hence, the reason I brought in a sales director, because I'm like, well, I'm not close enough to the business any
In that
longer
sense.
to really impact them. And that's why, as I said, I brought in a sales. And it is so important, because the buck stops at your feet, and you can't blame, you can't point fingers and place blame.
No.
Because guess what? The person looking in the mirror back at you, that's who's to blame.
Exactly.
Your name above the door, as you said.
That's right.
Your name above the door. So what's next? What's next for the company? What's the next 12, 24 months look like?
So we're now in a position where we've managed to move our clients, obviously wish to do so. From
That
the
was a
old
hard
platform.
graft, wasn't it? That whole transition.
So this is not getting too into the semantics of advice
of
and how
course.
it all works. You can't just lift and shift. What I mean is that you can't just decide, right, everything's moving over tomorrow, that's it. You have to give every single client individual advice of why they should move with you. Now, again, the buck lies with us. So you actually have to prove that it is in the client's best interest to do so. We have over 750 clients.
Wow.
So 750 pieces of advice with thousands of different plans. And I mean, it was a hell of an undertaking. You know what? I massively commend my team for getting stuck in. I think they've all been absolutely brilliant to make this happen. But also, our clients have had a lot of patience with us as well to make it happen, because it does take time. And I think what it's taught me more than anything else is that investment wrappers, product wrappers, names, all that sort of stuff can change, but clients value the relationship with their advisor.
Absolutely.
It's the individual relationship.
It's the relationship.
That's the bit that's the most important.
That's why I'm still with my guy.
Yeah.
The relationship that we've built.
Yeah.
I just know that he's looking out for my best interests. And he'll phone me up, and he'll talk me through things that are happening for no reason. He'll just say, oh, by the way, did you know? And I just love the relationship we've got, because I think that guy's looking out for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what you're saying, Anna,
It is.
is
It is.
knowing that you've got somebody that they're looking out for me. He's got my back.
And I'll be honest, our challenges now is we keep growing, which is fantastic, but it's how do you keep that level of service? So one of the things we really talk about a lot in our business is the Amazon culture. People want things now. And generally in financial services, things historically can be slow. Well, we don't work that way. If you get in touch with us, we'll get back to you that day. We'll phone you back. We'll let you know what's happening. You know, that Amazon culture of make things happen now, but make sure it's done correctly. Now, our challenge going forward will be, as you grow, you have more advisors, more clients, maintaining that. And that's where we need to get our operation right. I think we're going to be integrating more things like AI into the business and also into the advice process, how we process that information. But second to that, looking at how the world changes, how the needs of client change, and always looking to improve your advice model.
Absolutely.
Because again, I think other firms would think, well, it's just the way we've always done it, so it is what it is.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
We've always done it that way.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's right, though.
It doesn't mean it's right, because things change, circumstances change, clients
People change.
People change.
I mean, think pre and post COVID.
Absolutely.
I mean, you talked about it earlier.
You're right.
Pre and post COVID. I mean, who would have imagined a world where people will now work from home?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's it. The whole characteristics of things move all the time, and I really believe in that. You adapt or you die. Basically.
Absolutely.
So it's always, I think, having an honest conversation within yourself and your stakeholders in the business of, are we the best we can be? And ask yourself those hard questions and be willing to be honest with yourselves. When you got something wrong, be big enough to admit it and say, okay, well, how can we make this better? I think when you feel, if you feel like you're Caesar and you weep because there's no more worlds to conquer, well, that's not true. There's always something better you can do. There's always something that you can improve.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that, and I'm gonna finish on that note about constant improvement. Even the tiniest wee bit, come back to the kind of compounding.
Yeah, that's right.
Just those tiny. I mean, us as a business, the only reason that we've built up our reputation that we have is because that constant improvement, listening to what our customers and clients are asking
and be
for.
willing to take that feedback too.
100%.
Good or bad.
I mean, if it's one person saying something and 50 other aren't, but if we're hearing something that's a bit consistent, we're going, okay, maybe we need to, change this up a little bit or change the way that we do things. I mean, I'm going through, I've been spending weeks and weeks and weeks, our learning management system, making it nicer, making it cleaner, making it easier to understand, making it so your as you said, so your journey, you want when you log in to do your assignment, you want to be able to find it easy, you want to understand it, and you want to know where everything is.
Yeah.
So we're going through all that constant process improvement. So I loved that. Right. Anyway, wrap up. Ask all my guests this: their top 3 pieces of advice.
Right.
So let's say there's a young guy, person, woman, man, thinking about starting up a business or in a career, and they don't really see their future there. What's your 3 top pieces of advice? If I'm sitting, I'm going to say, Kieran, I'm really I really want A, B, or C.
Yeah.
What's your top 3 pieces of advice in life and business?
I think in the first instance, it's good for you to know and learn as early as you possibly can. No one's going to do it for you. You've got to do it yourself. Now, the good thing about life is you get to choose. You get to choose where you put your energy, what effort you put in, what you want to do. In most people's cases, that's the choice that you've got. But if you're waiting for the fairy godmother to come down, wave the wand and make your dream a reality, you will be waiting a long time. You are going to have to do it yourself. And I suppose on that journey, as I touched before, the thing I keep in my head, which I know sounds weird, that life is suffering. To exist is to suffer. So you will have bad days, bad weeks, bad months, bad years sometimes.
I hope no.
And I hope not. And you know what? You don't wish that.
Bad months are hard enough.
Yeah, and that's it. You don't wish that on anyone. But I suppose the reality of existence is that will happen.
Yeah.
But suffering is universal. You're not the first. You won't be the last. And believe in yourself. You can overcome. So I remember a pal of mine was asking me a few years ago now. He was talking about resilience and where you'd learn these things from. And I was harking back to my amateur football days. Now, I was a B player, basically. There was the wee town I was come from in Stonehaven. Loads of young guys wanted to play football. Yeah. There was an A team and a B team. I was a B player. And I can happily admit that. I was not at that level. And the B team, we used to get cuffed sometimes. I mean, literally 9-0, 5-1, these kind of things. And people used to say to me sometimes, I don't know why you even bother turning up. And even at a young age, I thought, well, you made a commitment. You said that you were going to turn up. You said you were going to train. You said you were going to do. You can't just walk away because it's difficult or it's not going the way you want to.
Unfortunately, that's what most people do in life, though.
Because it's easy to do that, isn't it?
Because it's easy.
It's easy to walk away when things get tough. And I suppose you've probably seen that graphic before. You know, it's a wee guy that's got his pickaxe and he's hunting for gold, and it's 2 different graphics together. And if he just kept going that wee bit more, the gold is maybe a few more pickaxe hits away. That's business. Even when you feel.
I use the exact same analogy, by the way. That I remember seeing that. So you get the guy at the top, the guy at the bottom, and one's still going and one's walked away, and they're both just inches away from hitting gold. And the hard bit of business is you'll never know how close you are to that point.
Never.
But
resilience, and if you keep trying, you've got the chance to get there.
Absolutely. And so was that 3 pieces there? Was that
might have been 4 or 5. Who knows? There was a few in there.
Listen, Kieran, first of all, before we close off, how do people, if somebody listening, they want to get in touch with you, they want to find out about, a bit of financial advice, anything.
Yeah.
How do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, we've got our website, welshandtaylorwealth.co.uk. I'm quite active on LinkedIn, so if you look for Kieran Taylor, you can get me on there. Drop me a message. I'm always happy to give people time because that's helped me in life, and you're a great example of that, James. When I sent out a message to you, you were kind enough to give me some of your time, and genuinely that has helped me along the way, so I'd like to keep that on board. And what I would say is, with the podcast, thank you for having me on, and keep up the good work. As I messaged you before, when you first started the podcast, I thought, right, I'm going to have a listen to this. It's been brilliant, and I managed to take away a load from the episode. So keep
and the right Glasgow accent.
Exactly. And my mum's a West Coaster, so it's fine. It passes through for me, no bother.
So you obviously, because we know each other, and you must, when you listen, you could probably picture me actually sitting having a conversation.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. So it's weird actually being here, to be honest. But there you go.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. All the details of how they can contact you, it'll be on the YouTube channel, it'll be on the Apple, Spotify, and all the other podcast channels. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for travelling all the way down from grey Aberdeen.
Yeah, exactly. You're very welcome, pal. Thank you.
Thank you.